all this amazing diversity of life on planet Earth. Here's the question. How did we get here? Sure, evolution. The fossil record indicates that 99.9% of all creatures that have ever lived are now extinct. But is there some way to see how all this variation could arise without Marduk, or Atum, or Gaia, or Brahma, or Izanagi, or God? Yes, and if you stick around to the end, I'll show you how you can try it for yourself. John Conway, a brilliant British mathematician, invented the game of life in 1970. No, not that one. That's the board game created by Milton Bradley and popularized in the 1960s. This game of life opened up a whole new branch of mathematics, cellular automata, programs that run all by themselves. Here's our universe, a simple grid where each square is alive or dead. Let's call them cubies.
I like that.
Every cubie can have 8 neighbors.
Whoa, too many.
Yeah, that leads us to the first rule. Any cubie surrounded by more than 3 neighbors will die in the next generation.
Not fair.
This is the game of life, it's not about fair. Rule number 2. Any dead cubie with exactly 3 neighbors is born.
That's more like it.
Rule number 3. Any cubie with fewer than 2 neighbors dies from loneliness.
No.
And rule number 4. Any cubie with 2 or 3 neighbors lives on to the next generation. In my version of the game, surviving cubies change color every generation until they reach black. Black cubies are still alive, but they're very old. The genius of the game is that there are only 4 rules that determine if a cubie will live on to the next generation. 4 rules, that's it. There is no other programming to produce all the cool patterns you're about to see. They appear all by themselves. Okay, let's try some. Here are the first simple patterns discovered with the game of life. These are the initial conditions for the game. Now we sit back and see what happens. Every time the score increases, the 4 rules have been applied, creating a new generation. Some are called oscillators because they repeat. The number of generations before they repeat varies. Another category of patterns is called spaceships because they're shapes that move across our grid universe. From the simple glider to shapes that kind of look like spaceships. And check out the Gosper glider gun discovered by Bill Gosper that generates gliders. This was the first example to show that a simple finite pattern can produce infinite patterns. Now let's explore. Pick a few random cubies.
Pick me, pick me.
And we let it run. 30. Let's try a simple pattern. A cross with the middle point omitted. Just 5 generations. Now we'll try the same pattern again, but with 1 extra square. Wow, look at that. We need to speed up the simulation. This shows the power of just 1 square, 1 element, 1 person. Your actions can have consequences that affect a lot of people. What we're seeing here is a form of emergence, when a complex entity has properties or behaviors that its parts do not. And these properties, shapes in our cases, appear only when they interact in a wider whole, looking at the big picture. There are examples of emergence all around us. Snowflakes are the spontaneous organization of water molecules in the transition from liquid to ice. Termites act like bricklayers with biological cement guided by simple rules, collectively creating mounds up to 25 feet tall. And these mounds are temperature and humidity regulated for their colony. Schooling fish like sardines form these beautiful patterns to confuse predators and save energy. They create them with 3 simple rules: avoid collisions, match speed, and stay close. Starlings form these huge moving clouds of birds to make it nearly impossible for a hawk or falcon to lock onto a single target. Sudden twists, waves, and shapeshifts confuse and overwhelm predators. There is no bird captain, only 3 rules. maintain fixed distance, match movement with nearest 6 neighbors, and adjust quickly if others turn. As in many systems, these patterns depend on the initial conditions. How does it start? Imagine an alien planet. Organisms need an energy source to grow and reproduce, like sunlight. If there's no energy source, there is no life. Next, life needs liquid water, a solvent for chemical reactions, so the pieces like our game of life can move around and combine into different forms. For diversity to emerge, we also must have a stable environment with a suitable range of temperature and pressure. The cubies need to be comfortable. Extreme conditions are harmful to life. And we also need some key elements: carbon, the backbone for complex organic molecules; hydrogen, essential for energy production; nitrogen, vital for formation of DNA and proteins; oxygen, needed for cellular respiration; sulfur, required for protein structure; and phosphorus for genetic info and energy transfer. You gotta have all of these. Now the real game of life begins. With the right mix in the right places, complexity may arise, creating proteins, DNA, bacteria, single cells, and multicells. Is it really that hard to accept this is very likely how complexity arose on Earth? Look at this unbelievable pattern that has been discovered with the game of life. All this amazing diversity with just one variable: location. Real ecosystems have many, many more variables: weapons, armor, locomotion, mate attraction, speed, flight, hibernation, camouflage, height, size, stealth, power, intelligence, community, memory, to name a few. The game of life shows a shepherd is not needed to guide the symphony of the world. Complexity arises all by itself. Send an email to the address in the description below and I'll send you the HTML file of my color version of the game of life. It's a tiny 30 kilobyte file and all you need is a web browser that supports HTML5. Here's a quick demo of the program. We have the universe of grids, there's a few commands, and a place to keep track of your high scores. So as an example, let's do a simple pattern. Just 6 squares. Now we change to auto mode by clicking the yellow button and then the green go button. Wow, look at this. You can change the speed by selecting medium, fast, or super. That is pretty cool from just 6 squares. And if you forget your initial pattern, just click the restore button. That's it. So if you can beat 464, post your best score in the comments.